Venti receives a magical letter, saying to come to a special island, as they desperately need the Archons' help. It also mentions not to bother bringing along someone else that isn't an Archon, as they will likely be eliminated in the process. At the end of the letter, it says the fate of Teyvat lies in their hands, and doom will be set to all if they don't comply. Venti thinks that this might be a trap. He ponders on what the threat could be, and what this mysterious island is, having never heard of it. He's reluctant, but decides to go, as the ominous ending of the letter makes him fear what would happen if he didn't. He's willing to take the risk, even though he suspects it might be an enemy's ploy. In the letter, it says that he just has to say a magic word, and he will be teleported instantly to the island. Before he goes, he quickly transforms his appearance into the first person he sees, Diluc, to throw off any enemies on the other side, as they will mistake him for someone else. He says the magic word, and as the letter says, he gets teleported to the island. Upon arriving, he looks around, and sees that there are two other people there, recognizing Raiden and Ningguang. He says hello to them, but pretends not to know them, being disguised as Diluc. Raiden comments that it seems that the other Archons were cowardly enough to not send themselves, having representatives instead. Ningguang replies that their Archon is no more, so she arrived in his place, and Diluc says the Anemo Archon isn't present too. There was another person who arrived shortly, and they ask who they are. She introduces herself as Dori, one of the sages of the Dendro Archon, who unfortunately couldn't arrive, needing to deal with something else. They decide to explore the island, looking for the presumed threat, but couldn't find anything dangerous, only some random monsters. They then encounter a cave, where they can sense a powerful being living inside it. Thinking this was the threat they were looking for, the four enter, but Raiden suddenly stops them, commanding Diluc and Dori to stay back, remembering the letter, which says people who are not Archons will be eliminated. She says she and Ningguang will handle it, not wanting to risk their lives. They went inside the cave, while the other two watched from afar, as they attack the Regis Vine. Even though Ningguang and Raiden are excellent fighters, the boss keeps regenerating its roots before they can destroy it, healing itself, and rendering their efforts useless. Raiden comments that she has never fought anything this strong in quite a while, and Ningguang agrees, it's a formidable opponent. The boss suddenly deals significant damage to them, making the two on the brink of defeat. Dori looks at Diluc with concern, wondering what to do. Out of options, Venti removes his disguise and uses his powers to save them, showing his true form. Raiden grins and says that it seems Zhongli has the same plan as you. Ningguang then removes his disguise, revealing it was Zhongli all along, the Geo Archon, apologizing for tricking them. Venti chuckles and says 3 of the Archons arrived after all. Dori's voice can be heard in the distance. Actually, make that 4. As the Dendro Archon, Nahida removes her disguise, also showing her true form. Raiden mumbled that 4 of the Archons have been reunited, so it means I no longer have to hold back. Raiden and Zhongli were holding back their powers before, not wanting to hurt the others, but since everyone present is an Archon after all, they can go all out now, as the 4 of them can take it. The Archons working together, they defeated the Regis Vine with ease, only taking a few seconds to defeat it this time around. Upon defeat, weirdly, the boss dropped a bottle of juice and 4 cups, making Venti very happy, but the rest not so much. They explore the area a little bit more, but don't find anything else threatening, when Nahida suggests an idea to them. She says, what if they take a break and just chat for a bit? She thinks that's what's intended for them to do next, if the 4 cups and bottle of juice are anything to go by. Venti strongly agrees, while Zhongli and Raiden think it's worth a shot. They sit down at a table and start discussing various things. Raiden tells about how she got in the island, receiving a magical letter out of nowhere. That said it needed her help, and that the fate of Teyvat relies on it. And then she teleported to there, noting that she didn't need a disguise, because if it was a ploy by an enemy, she'll just eliminate all the people behind it, easy. Zhongli tells a similar story, about receiving the magical letter, but he disguised himself as Ningguang before going. When he arrived at the island, he saw Raiden was there, and whispered to her that he's actually the Geo Archon, but to keep it a secret from everyone else. Venti and Nahida tell a similar story, receiving the letter, and disguising themselves before going. Nahida remarks that great minds think alike, as 3 of them had the same idea. Zhongli then says that if it was a trap, they foolishly took the bait, but from what they've seen so far, it's not. After a while, Raiden says they should continue looking for the threat now, so they can go back to their nations as soon as possible. They agree. The 4 explored far and wide, but couldn't find the presumed threat that could bring doom to Teyvat. At least they got to know each other more while exploring, and about the nations they reside in. 3 days have passed since then, and it's about to turn night. Zhongli suggests they should take a break now, to preserve energy for tomorrow, and the others comply. As they head back, staring at the beautiful sky, Nahida asks something strange. Because of the items the Regis Vine dropped, she still thinks that the way out of the island is getting to know each other more. So, she asks if they can play some games together. Venti finds it fun, and encourages Zhongli and Raiden to join, something he accomplishes. They're not particularly thrilled with the idea, but they accept it, if it means saving Teyvat. They played hopscotch, Genius Invocation, various other games, and they showed each other a famous game from their respective nations. They had a blast. And in the end, Venti had the most wins out of the group. All of them had a great time though. As they continue to watch the beautiful sky, Raiden asks Zhongli an interesting question. She asks if Teyvat was ever in danger because of this threat. Is he confident that he can protect his nation? He says, yes, having great faith in Liyue's resilience and the strength of its people. Him being the Geo-Archon, it is his duty to ensure the safety and well-being of its inhabitants. He says, should we face a threat, I will do everything within my power to protect Liyue and its people. Zhongli questioned Raiden why she asked that. Does she have doubts in their abilities? She responds, saying no, but she has worries, remembering what happened in the Regis Vine fight. If the people around her weren't fellow Archons, she fears that she would have used her ultimate attack and hurt many innocent people in the process. If she didn't, that would result in her being defeated, leaving the people to fend for themselves. Nahida also admits she has worries, not being the strongest Archon, and far from being the most experienced. She fears her strength is not worthy enough to protect everyone, only being able to help on the sidelines in the past. Venti has similar doubts as well, having lost most of his powers, unlike in his prime. Zhongli comes up with an idea to lessen their worries. Even though he ended all contracts, this is one exception. The 4 of them should agree that they will always have each other's backs in the case that a strong threat attacks Teyvat. Whether it would be Zhongli shielding the citizens so Raiden can go all out, or Nahida telling valuable information and strategies, they would agree to help each other in the case of danger. They don't need to worry about their weaknesses anymore, as they can all cover for each other and help with what they lack. After all, they have the same goal, protecting their nation and the people of their world. Raiden, Venti, and Nahida wholeheartedly agree, swearing an oath and creating the contract. After it's done, a voice from somewhere far away congratulates them and says they have solved the threat. The 4 Archons get quickly teleported back to their nation, being confused on what happened. What they know for certain though, is the oath they have made on that island, to protect and ensure the well-being of everyone in their world. Meanwhile, in the sky, a certain tea party is held. You better make sure your astrology is correct, said a female voice. Creating that island and summoning 4 of the Archons was not an easy feat. Don't worry, said an old voice. My foresight is correct, most of the time. We truly need them to work together to stop this incoming threat, but if you insist, I can check again.
Let me scry.
The end. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe and like if you ended up enjoying this video, and comment on what you guys think about it. Bye.